I actually am a two-time survivor of lymphoma. My first cancer diagnosis was in 1999 with large cell extralymphatic lymphoma. And then in 2007, I had a reoccurrence of large cell B lymphoma with a Burkitt's chromosome. And that led me to a bone marrow transplant. It's almost impossible to explain what that's like. It's like everything spins around you and you can't make it stop when you get that first diagnosis. Um, um, that's probably one of the toughest questions somebody's ever asked me. So I could tell you everything about my treatment, but it's really hard to put into words what it's like when you find out that you've got cancer. And actually, it's interesting for me because I've always been a real health nut. Ate organic food, things like that. And so I kind of always told myself in my mind that if I was ever diagnosed, I would take the holistic route. But as soon as I got that diagnosis, it was like, where do I sign up for the chemotherapy? So you never know how you're going to react until you're actually in that position. My treatment process, the first one was 4 rounds of chemotherapy, like every 3 weeks. And then I did radiation afterwards. And at that time, I would have told you it's probably the hardest thing that I had ever been through. But then in 2007, when I was diagnosed with the large cell B lymphoma, it was stage 4, and it had compromised 85% of my bone marrow. So for me, a bone marrow transplant was the only chance of survival. And I had a donor transplant. My brother, luckily, was a 10 for 10 match for me. So I had the best you could have for that. But I will tell you that it was the most grueling thing I've ever been through. And it made my, my first treatment look like a walk in the park. So when I ever hear anybody saying that they're having to have a bone marrow transplant, I just say to myself, fasten your seatbelt because you have no idea what you're getting ready to go through. I had a great support system from my family and friends. Actually, I had my transplant in Houston at MD Anderson, and my mom and I picked up in August and went to MD Anderson for 4 months and were there on our own. I had brothers and my husband came in to help her out, so it was just the two of us, 24/7. And she really was my big support system. I've always had a great sense of humor. I had a really positive outlook. At that time, I would not allow anything negative around me. I didn't watch the news. I watched programs like Frasier, things that made me laugh, comedies only. I just stayed away from anything that was negative. I did a lot of visualization, kind of just took it day by day. And at that time, I had a friend, or she actually wasn't a friend. I found out she was a sister of somebody that I knew who had gone to MD Anderson just for a consult. And she ended up not coming home for 7 months. And so anytime I felt like I could not take it anymore, I would say to myself, whoa, you know, this person's had it so much worse than I did. And she became my hero. And so I thought, you know, if she can do it, I can do it. And I could always find somebody that I felt like was worse than I was. When I lost all of my muscle mass and literally could not walk. And when I would go down for physical therapy, I would see a 6-year-old girl going through physical therapy. And I would say to myself, what do you have to complain about? Here is a 6-year-old who is going through this, who hasn't even had her life yet. So, you know, suck it up. You can do it. It sounds kind of harsh, but sometimes you just got to suck it up. I went through both the physical therapy. When I came back, like I said, I could barely even walk. So I went to the physical therapy twice a week there, and they really did a great assessment and got me motivated to do the exercises that I needed to do to get my strength back. And when I graduated from there, I actually wasn't as active as I wanted to be. So the woman who ran the department kind of took me under her wing and brought me back in and helped me get back to a point where I wanted to be. I was very active before I lost my transplant. Unfortunately, I'm probably never going to get back to that level, but they helped me get back to a level that was that was really good for me. And I also participate in the oncology yoga program, which I think is a very, very good program. The women that go there have kind of become a little support system, and the class is it's just an amazing class to really help you deal with everything that you have to deal with after you've gone through this. So the mind-body connection, everything is really wonderful. You know, even though when you find out that your world is spinning, um, you know, you can do it. Sometimes you have to take it an hour at a time. Sometimes you're able to take it a day at a time. But you know, just have faith in yourself and that you can do it.